Welcome to World News. This is Jyoti. Let's dive to the details. On October 21, 2025, US President Donald Trump hosted a Diwali celebration at the White House, marking the Hindu festival with a traditional diya lighting ceremony in the Oval Office, joined by Indian American officials, diplomats and business leaders. Trump praised Diwali as a symbol of light, triumphing over darkness, and extended warm wishes to the people of India. He called Prime Minister Narendra Modi a great person and reaffirmed strong US-India ties, highlighting cooperation in trade and energy. The event underscored cultural appreciation and the growing influence of the Indian American community in US politics and society. Sanai Takaichi has made history by becoming Japan's first female prime minister, elected with 237 votes in the lower house. A conservative leader and close ally of the late Shinzo Abe, Takaichi pledged to build a strong country through unity and tireless effort. In her speech, she said, "We can only rebuild by reuniting every generation." He will work like a horse. Known for her admiration of Margaret Thatcher, she plans to continue Abenomics and push bold reforms. Her rise follows Shigeru Ishiba's resignation and a coalition deal with the Japan Innovation Party. Takaichi is expected to meet Emperor Naruhito to formally assume office as Japan's 104th Prime Minister, marking a milestone in nation's political history. US President Donald Trump, speaking at a Rose Garden Club lunch in Washington, D.C., reiterated his controversial claim that he stopped a potential nuclear conflict between India and Pakistan through trade negotiations. Trump stated that during heightened tensions when 7 planes were shut down, he warned both nations that any military action will halt trade deals with the US. He claimed this pressure led to a ceasefire within 24 hours. Trump emphasized that 5 of 8 global conflicts he addressed were resolved through trade and tariffs. While Pakistan acknowledged US involvement, India maintains the ceasefire was a result of direct military talks.
But it's going to be one of the most beautiful ballrooms anywhere in the world, and it's going to be able to take care of tremendous things. When you have, as an example, I'm going to see President Xi in 2 weeks. I'm going over to South Korea. We're going to meet in South Korea. We're going to talk about a lot of things. They want to discuss the fact that they're paying 157% tariff. It's a little higher than they thought. And we're doing very well. I think we're going to do well in that negotiation. We've done well, as you know, with Japan, with South Korea, with Europe. The European nations got together. We made a deal. And it was all based without the tariffs. You could have never made the deal. I'll tell you what, tariffs equal national security. Remember that. Tariffs equal national security. You got to remember that. And they also equal wealth for our nation because we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in a very friendly manner, given to us by nations that used to take it from us. And they used tariffs on us. We never used it on them because we were foolish, or we were led by people that weren't business people. But it really does. It equals national security. And I wouldn't have put out, I mentioned 8 wars, 9 coming. Of the 8, 5 were based solely on trade and tariffs. India, Pakistan were going at it. 2 nuclear powers, and serious nuclear. 7 planes shot down. They were ready to go, and I called them up. I said, you go to war, and we're not doing a trade deal. And they said, well, what does one thing have to do with the other? I said, it has a lot. You're nuclear powers. And if you do it, we're not doing a trade deal. And 24 hours later, they called me, we have decided not to do it. We stopped the war. We stopped a potential disaster, a nuclear disaster, because of trade. And it's been really amazing. But the tariffs have made us a wealthy country. They've given us tremendous defense. They've given us things that we can do for other countries, very positive. But again, really, it's national security, it's national defense. And they are so important, and it's incredible that
US Vice President J.D. Vance expressed cautious optimism about the fragile Gaza ceasefire, stating it is going better than expected during his visit to Israel on October 21, 2025. Speaking at a newly inaugurated Center for Civilian and Military Cooperation, Vance acknowledged recent flare-ups but maintained confidence in the truce's durability. What we have seen the past week gives me great optimism. The ceasefire is going to be held, he said, while admitting he couldn't offer 100% certainty.
We are 1 week into President Trump's historic peace plan in the Middle East, and things are going, frankly, better than I expected that they were. This is a very, very tough situation. You have 2 peoples, 2 enemies who have fought a very tough conflict against each other. You have a terrorist organization on one hand that murdered a lot of innocent people. You've got an Israeli army that was defending itself on the other, that has learned a lot over the past couple of years. And then, of course, you have an innocent civilian population in Gaza that's caught in the middle. It is a focus of everybody here to get those bodies back home to their families so that they can have a proper burial. Now, that said, this is difficult. This is not going to happen overnight. Some of these hostages are buried under thousands of pounds of rubble. Some of the hostages, nobody even knows where they are. That doesn't mean we shouldn't work to get them, and that doesn't mean we don't have confidence that we will. It's just a reason to counsel in favor of a little bit of patience. This is going to take a little bit of time. We are 1 week into President Trump's historic peace plan in the Middle East, and things are going, frankly, better than I expected that they were.
During a recent interaction, US President Donald Trump shared that he had discussed trade and energy matters with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. According to Trump, Modi assured him that India would limit its oil purchases from Russia, aligning with broader geopolitical concerns. Trump emphasized Modi's desire to see an end to the ongoing conflict, suggesting that India's energy decisions reflect a strategic stance. While the statement signals diplomatic coordination, India has not officially confirmed any shift in its oil import policy. The remarks come amid global scrutiny of energy alliances and efforts to balance national interest with international expectations. The conversation underscores the evolving dynamics between Washington and New Delhi on trade, energy, security, and foreign policy.
Well, we stand great, and the people of India, I love the people of India, and we're working on some great deals between our countries. I spoke to the Prime Minister Modi today, as I mentioned before, and we just have a very good relationship. And he's not going to buy much oil from Russia. He wants to see that war end as much as I do. He wants to see the war end with Russia, Ukraine. And as you know, they're not going to be buying too much oil. So they've cut it way back, and they're continuing to cut it way back. Well, we stand great, and the people of India, I love the people of India, and we're working on some great deals between our countries. I spoke to Prime Minister Modi today, as I mentioned before, and we just have a very good relationship. And he's not going to buy.
A cheering crowd welcomed freed Israeli hostage Avinathan Or back to his home in the Jewish settlement of Shiloh, located in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. Or was released as part of a ceasefire hostage deal after being held captive by Hamas for 2 years, following his abduction from the Nova Music Festival in October 2023. His return sparked emotional scenes with the residents waving flags, singing and offering prayers. Or arrived from Rabin Medical Center, where he had been undergoing rehabilitation. The homecoming was marked by unity and relief as local leaders praised his resilience and the support shown by the community. The event highlighted the personal toll of conflict and the strength of communal solidarity.
I'm very glad to be here, to back to my place, to my home, to see all the love I get from all the people, all the citizens of Israel, thanks to the IDF, all the risk their life to bring me and the other hostage back home. I'm very happy. My heart is low. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here, to back to my place, to my home, to see all the love I get from all the people, all the citizens of Israel, thanks to the IDF, all the
Interim President Jose Jerry has declared a state of emergency in Peru's capital Lima and the neighboring province of Callao to address rising crime and restore public order. The emergency measures allows the deployment of armed forces alongside police and temporarily suspends certain civil liberties, including freedom of assembly. This decision follows a surge in violent incidents and public unrest, prompting swift government action to ensure safety and stability. Jerry emphasized the need to maintain peace and tranquility in the region, marking his first major move since assuming office. The declaration reflects the administration's commitment to tackling organized crime and safeguarding citizens, while also sparking debate over civil rights and the scope of emergency powers.
Compatriotas, la delincuencia ha crecido de manera desmesurada en los últimos años, causando un enorme dolor en miles de familias y perjudicando además el progreso del país. Pero esto se acabó. Hoy empezamos a cambiar la historia en la lucha contra la inseguridad en el Perú. El estado de emergencia aprobado por el Consejo de Ministros entra en vigencia a las 00 horas y por 30 días en Lima Metropolitana y el Callao. Y presenta un nuevo enfoque. Pasamos de la defensiva a la ofensiva en la lucha contra el crimen. Una lucha que nos permitirá recuperar la paz, la tranquilidad y la confianza de
President Donald Trump has stated he is not personally involved in the $230 million claim reportedly filed with the U.S. Department of Justice to recover legal expenses from past federal investigations. While acknowledging the existence of the claim, Trump emphasized that he has not directed his legal team on the matter and is not seeking personal financial gain. He added that if any compensation is awarded, he would donate the entire amount to charity. The claim is believed to stem from Trump's assertion that previous investigations were politically motivated. His comments aim to deflect criticism and reinforce his stance that the pursuit of justice should not be financially driven or self-serving.
Part of the reason.
U.S. President Donald Trump was asked on Tuesday about a report that he is seeking $230 million from the Justice Department to compensate him over what he claims were politically motivated probes against him.
As far as all of the litigation and everything that's been involved, yeah, they probably owe me a lot of money. But if I get money from our country, I'll do something nice with it, like give it to charity or give it to the White House while we restore the White House.
Trump tried to overturn his 2020 election loss to former President Joe Biden, based on his false claims about voter fraud. In an unprecedented twist, Trump now leads the same federal government that formally investigated him over the false election loss claims. The New York Times said Trump has filed 2 administrative claims, a step often taken before suing, seeking damages for alleged violations of his rights. The first, submitted in late 2023, challenges the probe that looked at possible links between the Trump campaign and Russia during the 2016 election. The second, filed in mid-2024, accuses the FBI of violating Trump's privacy during a search of his Florida estate, Mar-a-Lago. It also accuses the Justice Department of malicious prosecution over classified documents. Asked whether DOJ officials would face conflicts in reviewing such claims, Justice Department spokesman Chad Gilmartin said, quote, "In any circumstance, all officials at the Department of Justice follow the guidance of career."
Part of the reason.
U.S. President Donald Trump was asked on Tuesday.
A magnitude 6.0 earthquake struck Costa Rica, causing widespread concern across the region, according to seismological reports. The tremor occurred at a depth of approximately 31 kilometers and was felt in several parts of the country, including areas near the capital, San Jose, although no major damage was immediately reported. Authorities are monitoring the situation closely and have advised residents to remain alert for possible aftershocks. The incident disrupted daily life with the precautionary measures taken in schools, offices and transport hubs. Emergency services were mobilized to access infrastructure and ensure public safety. The quake serves as a reminder of Costa Rica's vulnerability to seismic activity and the importance of preparedness in earthquake-prone zones.
Seeking $230 million from the Justice Department to compensate him over what he claims were politically motivated probes against him.
As far as all of the litigation and everything that's been involved, yeah, they probably owe me a lot of money. But if I get money from our country, I'll do something nice with it, like give it to charity or give it to the White House while we restore the White House.
Trump tried to overturn his 2020 election loss to former President Joe Biden based on his false claims about voter fraud. In an unprecedented twist, Trump now leads the same federal government that formally investigated him over the false election loss claims. The New York Times said Trump has filed 2 administrative claims, a step often taken before suing, seeking damages for alleged violations of his rights. The first, submitted in late 2023, challenges the probe that looked at possible links between the Trump campaign and Russia during the 2016 election. The second, filed in mid-2024, accuses the FBI of violating Trump's privacy during a search of his Florida estate, Mar-a-Lago. It also accuses the Justice Department of malicious prosecution.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE operation that sparked public outrage. Demonstrators gathered in response to the enforcement activity, which reportedly targeted individuals in a densely populated area, raising concerns over civil liberties and community impact. The protest, marked by chants and placards, reflected growing frustration with the federal immigration tactics and the perceived disruption of local life, while officials maintained the operation was lawful and intelligence-driven activities. Activists criticized the timing and approach, calling for greater transparency and accountability. The incident has reignited debate over immigration enforcement in urban centers, with calls for policy reform and stronger protections for vulnerable populations gaining momentum.
Ice out of New York! 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 Across the street in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes. We'll see you there if you want to help. Arriba, abajo, la migra pa'l carajo. Arriba, abajo, la migra pa'l carajo. Hands off our students. Ice, cops. Hands off our students! Ice!
landmark legal development, Bangladesh has filed formal charges against several top-ranking military officials for their alleged involvement in enforced disappearances, marking the first time such accusations have reached a civilian court. The case stems from incidents linked to the 2024 uprising which led to the collapse of the previous regime. Human rights advocates have hailed the move as a significant step toward accountability and justice, especially in a country where military influence has often shielded officials from prosecution. The charges signal a shift in the nation's approach to civil-military relations and underscore growing efforts to address past abuses through legal channels. The proceedings are expected to draw international attention and scrutiny. Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Ahmad Al Thani strongly condemned Israel during his address to the Shura Council, denouncing what he described as a violation of Qatari sovereignty following an Israeli strike on Doha. In his speech, the Emir criticized Israel's actions in Gaza, calling them genocidal, and reaffirmed Qatar's support for the Palestinian cause. He stated, "We reiterate our condemnation of all Israeli violations and practices in Palestine and emphasized that the issue is not one of terrorism but of occupation." The Emir's remarks come amid heightened tensions in the region and follow Israel's September strike targeting Hamas leadership allegedly based in Doha. His comments reflect growing frustration in Doha over what it views as repeated ceasefire violations by Israel.
Israel has violated all laws and norms governing relations between nations through its aggressive actions against the mediator and its attempt to assassinate members of a negotiating delegation. We consider this aggression to be state terrorism, and the global response was so powerful that it shocked those responsible. What happened in the Gaza Strip in the past 2 years amounts to genocide, a term that encapsulates all atrocities. It is regrettable that they remain incapable of enforcing its respect when it comes to the tragedy of our brotherly Palestinian people. Israel has violated all laws and norms governing relations between nations through its aggressive actions against the mediator and its attempt to assassinate members of a negotiating delegation. We consider this aggression to be state terrorism, and the global response was so powerful that it shocked those responsible. What happened in the Gaza Strip in the past 2 years amounts to genocide, a term that encapsulates all atrocities.
Madagascar's youth movement Zanzi Mada has rejected the appointment of Herin Stalma Rajo Narivalo as a Prime Minister by coup leader Colonel Michael Randrineria. The youth, who played a key role in ousting former President Andry Rajoelina, criticized the selection as lacking transparency and betraying their call for structural change. Rajo Narovele, a businessman with the ties to the old regime, is viewed as unfit to represent the revolution's goals. Zanzi Mada warned against hijacking their movements, stating the Malgase youth are watching and mobilizing. Randri Aneria, who initially supported the protest, has now consolidated power, raising concerns about democratic transition. The youth demand clarity and accountability as political tensions rise in the wake of the coup and controversial appointments.
Government change. The youth-led Gen Z Mother movement, which had been at the forefront of the protests in Madagascar, have now stated that the new Prime Minister's appointment has taken place in a non-transparent manner. Randrinirina, who rose to power on the back of the youth-led protest that ousted his predecessor, Andrea Rajoelina, has said that the new Prime Minister's appointment has taken place because of his experience as well as his strong ties with international organizations that work with Madagascar. Randrinirina has said that the military will share power with the civilian government for up to 2 years before holding fresh elections. The ousted leader, Andrea Rajoelina, who fled the country last week, has spoken out against the military's actions. He has condemned the takeover as illegitimate and continues to challenge the new leadership. Despite being in exile, Rajoelina has refused to formally relinquish power.
North Korea has fired multiple short-range ballistic missiles, marking its first launch in months and escalating tensions in East Asia. The missiles were launched from an area near Pyongyang toward the eastern coast, according to South Korea's military. This test comes ahead of the APEC summit in South Korea. The leaders, including US President Donald Trump, are expected to discuss regional security. Analysts view the launch as a show of strength amid stalled diplomacy and increased joint military drills by the US and South Korea. The international community has condemned the move, citing violations of UN Security Council resolutions. The launch underscores Pyongyang's continued defiance and strategic signaling in a volatile geopolitical climate.
선간 천지를 진감하는 굉음과 함께 지구상의 온갖 악과 불의를 다스릴 조선인민의 화라로 치솟는 멸적 의기와 적개심을 제어하는 절대적 힘의 실체가 가세찬 화염으로 지면을 눌러딛고 위압적인 자태를 떠올렸습니다. 발사된 미사일은 최대 정점 고도 7,687.5km까지 상승하며 거리 1,001.2km를 5,156초간 비행하여 조선동해 공해상 예정 목표 수역에 탄착됐습니다. 시험 발사는 주변 국가들의 안전에 그 어떤 부정적 영향도 주지 않았습니다. 이번 최신형 전략무기 체계 시험에서는 전략 미사일 능력의 최신 기록을 갱신하였으며
That's the wrap of the world news. For more updates, stay tuned to CVR News English.